You've told me recently that you really like developing leaders. You like creating entrepreneurs and helping them become successful too.
Correct.
Why?
Because I was an underdog. My family was all college educated. I did not go to college. And I look at the underdog and say, if I can do it, I should be helping other people do it. When you build your business in someone else's location, you better be very profitable, keep those profits, invest those profits, because the landlord's not going to be kind in the end when that rent keeps going up that 3% or whatever your deal is.
I gotta be honest, I was struggling on how I was gonna introduce this or what questions I was gonna ask you. I was telling you before we got started, I like to really make this thing just unscripted, just raw. And there's a lot to unpack with you, Marc. There's just so much. You've done so much in business. You're the most accomplished person that I know in business. You've absolutely mastered the game. You're a serial entrepreneur. And it's an incredible story. It's an inspiring story. It's a roller coaster of a ride story. And the challenge I have today is I don't really know how to unpack it to really kick things off. But I thought just sharing that with you is how I was gonna unpack it. Just my thought process coming into this thing. But one thing I do know for sure, and this is what you shared with me yesterday when we got here. Everything started in this location.
Correct.
Everything started here in East Brunswick, New Jersey. Can you, for those people who aren't familiar with Auto Image, could you tell us where we're at?
So we're in central New Jersey, East Brunswick. We're about a half hour from New York City, about a half hour from the Jersey Shore. Very centralized in New Jersey. It's not the suburbs, it's not a city, it's just a normal everyday community. It's a wonderful place to live, wonderful people in the area, very middle class, and that's where I thought we would do best when we started the business back in 1987.
1987. And are you from this area? Were you born here?
I'm from 6 miles away in Edison, New Jersey.
In Edison?
Yes.
So when did you open up this location that we're currently at, East Brunswick?
So I graduated high school in 1987, and I actually graduated when I was 17 years old. My birthday's in August, and I opened this on Memorial Day weekend of graduating high school. So I was only 17, and Walter Pereira, who became my mentor, actually let me sign the lease here, and I was only 17 years old.
At 17?
Correct.
So, who is Walter? I've never heard of Walter.
Walter Pereira, he just recently passed away at 95 years old.
Oh, wow.
He was the property owner here. He gave me some of my best lessons in life, and he gave me the opportunity to open up this location here, which was 1,000 square foot when I originally moved into this store.
And now you own the property.
Correct. I wound up buying the property in 1991, and that was when Walt taught me my first lesson.
What was that?
The lesson was he wanted me to pay $225 for the building, so I said, of course, no problem. I went to the bank for an SBA loan, and they did appraisals and things of that nature, and they said the building's only worth $175,000. And I went back to Walter and said, the appraisal, I was pretty young. I was
17, you're getting appraisals on a building?
No, it was 3 years later.
Oh, okay.
Or 4 years later. And the bank came back and said, it's only worth $175,000. And I went to Walter and I said, you're charging me $225, it's only worth $175. He goes, well, how much is your business worth? And I go, well, it's my business. He goes, it's in my building.
Oh.
So I paid Walter $225,000 for the property, and that was the first lesson, hard lesson that I learned in business by building your brand or your business in someone else's building. From then on, the rest of the Auto Image locations, which at one point were up to 7, 4 of them
Mm-hmm.
we owned, and 2 of them we leased.
And I still don't know. I mean, we've talked so much over the past couple of years, and I've learned so much from you. I mean, we were just on a drive yesterday to dinner, and the drive back in that short trip, I mean, I was joking with Aladdin once I got out of the car, and I'm like, I said, Aladdin. And I was like, you guys slapped around a little bit, but it's just so impactful. It's like, I hang off of every word, and I want to know what happened with the 7 locations, because I know you were growing, you were well diversified just a few years later after what you just described now. But going back to that first location, was it car audio or it was window tint?
So I started doing window tint in high school.
Yeah.
The interesting story there, my girlfriend and I tried to tint my 79 Z28.
Okay.
Really cool car. And we could not tint this car. So I actually brought it to a guy in South River, New Jersey here, and he tinted it, charged me $90. I brought it home, looked at it, and go, I can't believe that me and her couldn't do this. $90 for film that costed, $4 at AutoZone, or the auto parts place at the time.
$4.
So at that point, I called up a guy in Staten Island, and I asked him, would you teach me how to tint windows? And he said, sure, no problem, come on down. And it was a shop on Highland Boulevard in Staten Island, and this big built guy, they had weight benches and 2 bays, and they just tinted windows, showed me how to tint in 2-3 days, came back, ripped the tint off my Camaro, started practicing, and from there on, I was, an overnight success. My senior year of high school. 18
now?
No, I was still 17 years old.
You're still 17?
Yes, I was 17 in high school.
Wow.
And that senior year of high school, I made an incredible amount of money.
And it was all tint windows?
All tinting windows.
I mean, how many cars were you tinted? Was that still one location, 17?
No, I tinted out at my parents' house then.
Oh, this
I was in high school. Yes,
Brunswick.
Correct. That was in high school. So as soon as I graduated high school at 17, I turned 18 August out of high school.
Yeah.
But before that, that was the point. The guy gave me a chance, let me sign the lease.
Incredible.
So once we signed the lease here, then, we blossomed into car detailing and things of that nature.
Oh, okay. So when you got this location, East Brunswick, this was your first location, auto detailing, window tint, that was kind of the bread and butter for those?
Correct. That was pretty much all we did. Then we started dabbling into alarms. Alarms were real big. No remote start, it was just alarms. It was code alarm. Sense. And we couldn't get that brand because we just were kind of too small. I met a person in North Edison that was willing to sell us the code alarm. And we started buying code alarms from him and installing into people's cars. Mustangs were real big back then, the 5.0 Mustang. And we started installing a lot of alarms, and this was right around 1989.
Okay.
The person that we were buying that from introduced me to mobile phones or installed car phones. He goes, if you're doing this, you should be installing car phones as well. They had a contract with Cellular One at the time. We would actually install the phones for them and Cellular One, and that's how we got into the wireless game.
And how old were you when you got into the wireless game?
I was 19.
So 17 and 19. 17?
19 or 20.
19 or 20?
Yes.
So you had a good three-ish year stretch of just detailing and window tint and car alarms.
Yeah, 2-3 years.
How old were you when you opened up your second auto image location?
My second auto image location was very odd. It was probably 1991. And at that point, we also wanted to do car stereo, which we were not good in.
Okay.
So we took another business partner in to help us purchase car stereo, install car stereo. And that's how, again, we got into car stereo, was through another connection.
I mean, ahead of your time. I mean, we know in the 90s and end of 90s, the auto shop to own was car audio.
Yes.
It was stereos, subwoofers. I mean, the rap industry, everybody wanted a subwoofer in their trunk. I know this because I started off in the car audio industry. You know, it's one of the reasons why we connected when we first met. I told you, Northern California, we just worked with car audio shops in the beginning. And so what made you so successful at such a young age? Why were you able to stay ahead of your time? What when you look back, what do you think helped you have that edge?
I think the edge really came from long hours, never fearing the work, really seeing into the future. We did a lot of those subwoofers and amplifiers from the flea market. There was 2 flea markets around here, or swap meet type places, and people would bring us this big amplifier, big subwoofers, and we would install into their cars for them. That was how car audio started going for us, but we never sold it, we just installed it. As far as the wireless industry, I really started seeing a pattern when they went to the bag phone. I don't know if you remember what a bag phone was. A 3-watt phone in a bag that was not installed in your car, but it was like it was in your car. It had a full handle. And
how big was this thing?
It was pretty big. If we were at my other office, we had examples of it. We kept these things.
Oh, we should have brought it. Oh, that would have been incredible. Okay, we'll get that. We'll get some pictures of it. We'll try and get some pictures of it.
So, and then it went into that big Motorola phone where I'm sure you saw on movies, this big gray, boxy looking handheld phone. As soon as it started going to the little smaller phones, that's when it really took off. We were at computer shows selling phones, at fairs selling phones.
So this is what, the first year in your business? You started
this was in 1991 when we really started kicking it with cellular phones.
22, 23 years old?
I would say yes.
22, 23 years old. And this is one of my whys. This is one of the passions for me. I want to build a family business. I want to get my family into business, and your whole family works with you, in different divisions, and it's, different companies. You're a serial entrepreneur. You have a lot going on, and we're going to slowly unpack it. So far, we got them from 17 years old up to 22, 23 years old. But the thing is, you have, you've not only incorporated people in your family, but you've made them very successful.
Correct.
Very successful. And, when did you start putting family into your companies? So,
with the original Auto Image, my best friend Billy was, also involved in it. And, we were family. We were best friends from 4 years old on. I was 4, he was older than me, he was 7, and we really became great friends. And we kind of did a lot of this stuff together, starting it. And my brother, who was 3 years older than me, would come in and do our accounting. So that's how he got a little bit involved in the company.
Okay.
He was just out of college. Let me do your accounting for you, no problem. My mother also came in and she counted the cash and did payroll and things of that nature. Back in the day, she worked here for 25 plus years as well.
Okay.
And over the course of time, my friends started, working for the company. As I got married, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law also worked for the company for a short period of time in sales. My main business partner, Ed, he came in 1992 selling the phones. He was really pivotal in that.
Okay.
Interesting story, he would only work 2 or 3 days a week because he was so successful those 2 or 3 days selling phones on the weekend or at fairs or wherever he went. Not 10 phones, hundreds of phones a day.
A day? How old was Ed?
Ed's my age.
So you both were 22, 23 in 1993.
Correct. 92, 93, yes.
Early years of this wireless business. And this wireless business is what, you blew it up.
Yes.
We're going to unpack it, but that is what just skyrocketed everybody. So How did you meet Ed? How did you meet him? Where did he come from?
Ed was a salesperson at a large electronic seller, Tops Appliance City. It was one of those where you used to go in and negotiate for your camera, for your car stereo, whatever it was. There was not necessarily a set price back in the early 90s. I don't know if you ever heard of Nobody Beats the Wiz or
Maybe
Tops.
Did you? No,
So
I don't remember
that was
that's before our time.
That was the way things were sold. There wasn't necessarily, you would negotiate. So that's sort of where Ed came from. But the interesting part about Ed was, he sort of knew about us, and he came into the store one day and he had a car stereo in his car put in by Tops, but he wanted this one particular alarm that we sold. It was called an Invisibeam. And what it was when you would get close to the vehicle, it would say, "You're too close to the vehicle, step back." My goodness, am I old? You guys aren't thinking anything, are you? No.
I can't. I'm following though.
So it had a radar sensor hooked to the alarm that would say, "Stop! You're too close to the vehicle. Step back."
Okay.
Ed wanted this Invisibeam in his Supra.
Okay.
He had to have this. So I sold him this alarm with this Invisibeam, and it was very expensive, $900, $1,000 at the time.
That's a lot back then.
And
crazy. That's a lot.
Ever since then, we've been pretty much best friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he went into the wireless when I started explaining how the wireless phones worked, the way the commissions worked, the way the residual worked. Right, again, 92, 93, he joined us full time, but that was 2-3 days a week. He would just work the weekend, sell 200-300 phones, be on his jet ski, on his boat all week. I still worked the auto stores. We made plenty of money off of him selling the phones, meaning we make $30 or $50. He'd make $200 a phone.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Along that line, we were building what was known as the residual. The residual was 6% of people's phone bills.
That's incredible. Do they still do that to this day?
Absolutely.
Wow.
What I take from this segment that you never know who walks into the door when you're work, because that could be a long-lasting relationship that can last forever.
Correct.
And to kind of play devil's advocate here, that's so true, but you don't do business with friends and family. It doesn't work.
I do.
How did you do it? As you know, I want that for myself. I want to work with my family, but I'm scared of doing that. How did you make it so successful? How did you make it work?
The key was really understanding the role, and Ed was the face of the company, because that's what he liked to do. Ed was an outstanding he is an outstanding salesperson. That's what he liked to do. Any follow-up, anything that had to do with paperwork, he was a mess. He was not good at that, but he was very good at selling.
Okay.
He was very good at
That's why you need a team. You have to have a team.
He was very good at putting the deal together. Just like my brother, who I told you about, Ron.
Okay.
He was the accountant. And at one point for our company, he became the CFO. And at one point, we outgrew him as the CFO, and he became, more like us, kind of board members. And, we all played a role, and then we had to pass that role to somebody else when we knew that role outgrew us.
So let's fast forward to the growth years, because we talked about, it sounds like, you started building your team, you had the foundation, you're learning, you're growing, there's opportunity right there in front of you, you're ahead of your time. When did it really start to take off for you? What year was that? And what triggered that?
Again, we were always very consistent in our growth. From the time we started, whether it was opening up an additional store, adding the car alarms, adding the wireless phones. At that point, we started adding wireless stores. We started adding more auto image stores, which the auto image stores also sold the phones out of.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So that was what was a real profit center within the actual stores. There weren't a thing in the mid 90s, a cell phone store. It was Radio Shack, if you know what that was.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know what Radio Shack is, Marc.
So, places like that sold phones, but not, and 12 volt places like we were.
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate to open up multiple auto image stores. We were very fortunate to open up, in the later 90s, wireless stores, Cellular One stores.
Cellular One. Okay.
Yes.
When did you start that brand? Because
it was Cellular One, then Comcast, and then it went to like an AT&T or something. And our real success took place when it became something known as Singular. Singular was a new brand that came out that pretty much wanted to stand on its own. And we opened up 20, 30 Singular stores.
Wow. And
at that point, we ran them for multiple years. And, the true success was that brand. Until that brand was no longer that brand. We floated for many years on that Singular brand. We did not do a good job.
And how long did it take you to get to the 30 stores?
It was very quick. It was probably 3 years.
Within 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years probably.
So what happened with Auto Image? While you're blowing up the mobile.
We were opening Auto Images slower than the wireless stores, but we still kept opening up
the auto stores. So we talked about Auto Image. When did you go and open up your first just dedicated cellular store? When was that? How fast?
Mid-90s.
Mid-90s?
Correct.
Okay, so you were selling from Auto Image for probably the first 3 years.
At least, yeah.
At least first 3 years.
But it wasn't just at Auto Image. We were doing fairs, computer shows, really oddball place, carnivals. We would go to buildings like insurance company buildings. Any place we could use a lunchroom table, we would sell phones there.
So at this point, you're in your mid-20s. You have a thriving auto image business with more than one location, and then you're in you're in the cellular game as well.
Correct.
When did you start opening up multiple cellular locations? Like what gave you that? What gave you the opportunity there? What allowed you to open up so rapidly?
Singular handpicked certain people to come in and help them open up those stores. It was a true gift. They actually provided the blueprints. They provided most of the funding. All we had to do was...
You had to execute.
Execute.
What was the hardest part about that?
Putting together a team that was well organized, meaning from your sales, training, accounting, all those things. I think that we learned the very hard way that we did not have all those things in proper order. So that story ends after I was from 89, I had a contract with whether it was Cellular One, Singular, whoever, to 2007.
2007. Okay.
We were sitting at a table. It was an AT&T stores now, and it was a contract renewal, and we were collecting a large residual. And the gentleman slid a piece of paper across the counter to us and said, "We're canceling your contract."
Can we say how much that was?
We were collecting $90,000 a month in residual, and we were still profitable. $90,000 was just the icing on the cake.
Wow.
So,
wow.
We had a whole other business that attached to that residual.
Wow.
We went to our lawyers, nothing we could do. We went into one of our offices in Freehold, Ed and myself, and I'm not gonna lie to you, we shedded a few tears. Didn't know what we were gonna do. We both had large families. At that point, I just had my fourth child.
Oh, wow. 15 plus years in this industry. You grew 30 plus locations at this time, and they just pulled the rug from under your feet.
Correct. But they did and they didn't. We did not do a good job. We did not perform. We were not a world-class company. We weren't. We floated by. Best lesson I ever learned.
I mean, that's heart-wrenching. I mean, how did you, I mean, what you just said there, that mindset is so strong. How did you how did you recover for something like that? Some people will never, well, I'll say this. Some people have opportunities right there in front of them, but they never execute on it. So not only did you execute on this, but you've also faced an adversity, a challenge that no one would ever recover from. Like, why do you feel that you were able to rise above that?
There's a lot, there's different books, Outliers.
Oh, I love that book by Max Gladwell. Max Gladwell.
We were handed, this is odd, and everyone watching this is going to think that it's even odder. The lawyer that we were handling to sell those wireless stores, because we were allowed to, obviously we had to do something with them. We sold those wireless stores. We were not allowed to sell for top dollar. We were not allowed to sell who we wanted to sell to.
They wouldn't even let you sell?
To who we wanted to. We had to sell it to who they told us to.
Wow.
We got $1.2 million for everything.
For 30 stores.
For nothing. For $90,000 a month residual. So our lawyer in Long Island handed us a book. And he said, don't worry about it, guys. And the book was called The Secret. I don't know if you ever heard of it before. And
I love that book.
He handed us the book, and we're like, what the hell are you? We like lost our lives here. Like, this is insane.
Wow.
Long story short, Ed and I sat down. We said, what are we going to do? We said, we are going to shop the wireless companies and see who else wants us. We went to Sprint, we went to Verizon, we went to T-Mobile. We were in that point, and you don't remember this because you were too young, but in 2007, 2008, the economy was not doing well. So we felt at that point our best bet was to go with a low-cost carrier and work in the inner cities. We went with T-Mobile. That's what they were known for back then. We started out, again, committed to a world-class company, committed to doing it right, committed to having all the proper departments, regardless of what it costed us. We opened up our first store in Toms River, New Jersey.
How far is that from here?
It's near our brick store, so it's about 45 minutes away.
Oh, okay, okay.
And we opened up a second store in Neptune, New Jersey, and a third store in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, which was on Route 1. We had some success in the Toms River store, some success in the Neptune store, no success in the Lawrenceville store. Okay. So, it started out a little rough. During that time, I was really digging in deep at the auto image stores, making sure they were run efficiently. Ed was digging deep with the wireless stores, making connections, making friends. We just continued to grow that. We met one of the market managers as we were opening up more T-Mobile stores, 5, 6, 7, 8. We met the gentleman from the Philadelphia market. This is what changed our lives.
Question for you: How fast did you start building these locations after you got the rug pulled under your feet? I mean, you lost $90,000 a month in residuals.
To start this company, it was just Ed, myself, and my brother now. We started out this company to build our brand, which was called Express Stores, with approximately $1 million.
Okay.
It built very rapidly. From 2007 to 2010, we built about 35 stores.
So you guys had that traumatic event, life-changing.
Horrible.
And right away you went right back to work. Was there any...
Failure was not an option.
Did you take a month off? Did you take
Not a day.
Wow.
Not a day.
That's incredible. I mean, you spent 15 plus years with that previous company building those businesses.
Yeah, so yes.
And now, 3 years later, you built 30 more.
Correct. Way different. We had an office that was organized. We had a back office that was organized. We had the proper people in place.
Mm-hmm. Oh my! I mean, I know we're just getting started, but I need my coffee. Is the coffee here? You want to check if the coffee's here for us? We gotta get. It's just now it's gonna start ramping up. We're just getting started with this stuff, but at this time, what happened with Auto Image? Because
Auto Image was humming along. We've always been a volume tint shop,
right,
and a volume detail shop.
Thank you, boss. Thank you so much. Did you guys get anything?
I'm gonna get mine here.
Go ahead. Just walk through. And Mark, you already got your Starbucks there. I'm gonna set this down.
I actually have to.
Okay. Yeah, I want to see what.
So, Auto Image. And I've talked to you about this many times. I don't believe we're ever the best at anything.
Right.
But I think we did a great job at a lot of things. 12 volt, remote starts, doing over 1,000 remote starts during our winter season. Mm-hmm. Window tint, doing each store 5, 10, 15 cars a day. Car stereo, truck accessories, rims, tires, lowering and lifting, mm-hmm. things of that nature. We were pretty good at. Mm-hmm. Not the best, but pretty good at everything.
So around 2007, did you have the 7 Auto Image locations?
Yes, we had 6.
When did you start selling the other, or what happened to the other location? Because right now you only have 2. You have East Brunswick, you have Bricktown. I know why now that you kept the East Brunswick location where we're at now, because this is where it all started.
Correct.
Every business you've started here, right?
So my original intent with this store was to pass it along to my children. Mm-hmm. That was my original intent with this store. This store, really has a special place for me. The brick location was sold to my manager 3 years ago, so that was in 2021. The other locations, Edison, in 2017, when we were in a rapid growth mode mm-hmm. with T-Mobile, we opened up 85 stores that year. We converted that from an Auto Image store to a T-Mobile store. It suited us better, and we felt it would be more profitable.
Okay, so that's
Our
3.
Raritan location, I closed down. I had a very good lease person that wanted to go in there. It's Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Oh, okay, so you exited?
I exited.
Okay.
Recently, I've sold off both those buildings.
Okay. We didn't even mention that. So you didn't just have 7 Auto Image locations. Did you own the commercial real estate for all 7 as well?
No, only for 4 of them.
For 4 of the 7, you own the buildings as well?
Correct.
Okay. So real estate, cellular, automotive, and we'll get into more in a little bit. What happened to the rest of them?
So I had a lease in Freehold, New Jersey. It just got expensive. It was $10,000, $12,000 a month. We were successful enough that we just didn't need the small income that brought in. I think something that I would like to share, if anybody gets anything out of this conversation, is what I told you that Walt did to me. When you build your business in someone else's location, you better be very profitable, keep those profits, invest those profits, because the landlord's not going to be kind in the end when that rent keeps going up that 3% or whatever your deal is. So that was just some of my philosophy. And I realize we all can't buy real estate like that.
Right.
But that was some of my philosophy.
There's definitely some people that are in a position that can, but they choose to go buy some nice fancy cars, or they go to buy other things. They're not thinking about that as a liability, as a risk to their business.
Yeah. I understand. I've seen it happen too many times, but that's what happened with 2 of our locations. Was the rent just became too much.
Okay. So let's go back to the 3 years after you had the rug pulled from underneath your feet. You opened up 30 stores in the first 3 years. What happened on year 4, 5, 6, 7?
So we were at 34 stores, and T-Mobile came to us, and we had a wonderful, wonderful woman, Daria, that helped us run these businesses up to this point.
Okay.
And we wanted to grow. And T-Mobile came to us and said, you can't grow. And we said, why? They said, you don't have the right leadership.
Okay.
That was the most pivotal moment in my life. That was when Ed and I and Ron, my brother, decided to hire a CEO.
And what year was it?
This is 2010.
2010. Okay.
So we hired a CEO, which you have talked to.
Yes.
He took us from 34 stores.
Incredible gentleman. It was just incredible conversation. Very giving, very energetic.
So he took us from 34 stores to, we just had hundreds and hundreds of stores, meaning between opening and closing, we leveled off right around 400, but we've gotten up to 600 and 700, and then a couple hundred closed, depending upon leases, leaving malls, staying in malls. We were in every state on the East Coast,
Wow.
meaning that touches the coast. And we actually had some in Texas, which is weird. But that was from us buying and acquiring other people.
So when did you start buying other businesses?
And that was my Philadelphia story. When we met the person that wanted us to go into Philadelphia after about 7 or 8 stores, the area manager, the director for Philadelphia, who became very good friends with us, we bought our first Philadelphia store on Market Street.
So that was in the first year then?
It was right around the first year marker, correct.
Interesting. And then after that, you started just growing all over the East Coast?
All over Philadelphia.
How big? So you said Ryan, hiring a CEO was the most impactful thing you've ever had. Like, why was that so impactful? What did Ryan do?
He put a vision together for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years exit strategy. He really put a lot of that together.
Why was that so important? How did that make such a big impact?
We were able to purchase. We were able to organically open as many stores as we could possibly do.
Was that
in 2017, right before the Sprint T-Mobile merger, T-Mobile went to all its dealers, not just us, and said, we are going to have rapid growth. How many stores can you open? And we told them we can open 50 plus stores. And again, we opened up, 70, 80 stores in the timeline that we had within the 1 year timeline.
And I remember you said by the end of this, you've built over 1,000.
Correct, between AT&T, Cellular One, Singular, and of course T-Mobile, and other brands that I own. We have built over 1,000 stores.
Something that...
Meaning build-outs, tenant fit-outs.
And something that you've taught me was servant leadership. That's something that really has resonated with me recently. We've talked a lot about this. And that's why I talked to Ryan. Like hey, talk to my old CEO. He's the best person to talk to about it. How did that affect the culture in your company? And why does that matter so much?
So with that, as owners, Ed, myself, my brother, we let our CEO run and do his position. We let our head of sales run and handle his position. Our COO, we let him run and handle his position.
Right.
HR, we did not get involved. And we passed that down where they had their employees that had to do their job so they felt empowered. We never took the power away from our employees. Our employees had all the power.
I see.
We were an employees first company. all of our companies are that way, and I believe you see that here, even at Auto. I know you've only been here for a day, but you see we let all of our employees do their jobs. We don't micromanage or help them do their jobs. We ask them, what can we do for you to make your job better today?
You push them in the direction that they
Correct.
want to go. I mean, how do you create that accountability, though? How do you, I mean, let's face it, there's people that are going to watch this right now, and I think entrepreneurs face this in every business. It's letting go of the vine. It's delegating and elevating. How do you delegate to such a high degree where you delegated the CEO position? I mean, there's some people that won't put the phone down while, they can't put the phone down. They're stuck on sales, so they're stuck installing. How do you delegate so efficiently?
It's believing in your staff, believing in your people, hiring correct. And we haven't always hired the correct people, but we exit the wrong people quickly if we can.
How fast is quickly?
Less than 90 days.
Okay.
I think
that's a good amount of time. Are you talking entry-level position or? I'm
talking any position. We have hired the wrong positions for lots of positions. I'm sure people watching this have hired a window tinter with an attitude.
Yeah, big time.
We don't like that in our culture. We'd rather, Kyle tint the windows instead. Even though he's supposed to be selling, I'd rather see him tint the windows than have the wrong guy. Installers.
I see.
Things of that nature. When you have that quality team together, whether it's 8 guys or 10 guys in a shop or thousands of people out in the field, that culture, that sense of you're part of something bigger matters. And that's, if it doesn't matter to them, they're not going to fit in. They're not going to fit in anywhere. They should go be their own boss.
And sometimes they leave on their own too. Mostly if they don't fit the culture, I mean, they kind of stick out like a sore thumb.
Correct.
How do you craft that culture though, to where everybody's on the same page, there's maximum amount of alignment, and you have that environment where if someone doesn't fit in, it's not just you saying they don't fit in, everybody kind of feel it, they kind of get it, and they naturally don't work out. How do you create that culture?
I think it's, during our interview process, most of the time we have, multiple interviews with a new hire, and we will get that feel from, the 2 different people that they interview with. That's generally how we're able to sort of get that real feel for that person on whether they're really going to work out or not. I don't think that we hire out of being desperate. I think that's one of the worst ways that you can hire. I think that, and I told you and Aladdin this yesterday, if they have the will to do that certain job, then we'll teach them the skill to do. You're either going to get window tinting or you're not. You're either going to get PPF or you're kind of not. You're either a salesperson or you're really not.
Right.
So, we're able to kind of see that. And, again, I'm mentoring Kyle and Marc here and Dominique and the people that we have here to be able to see that within people.
So what do you look for in people when you're hiring? Like, you just talked about the will. They have to have the want, the desire, the drive. But is there anything else that you look for?
Oddly enough, how they walk into the office, how they walk into the showroom. Do they have a smile on their face? Do they seem energetic? Are they happy?
Positive, happy people.
Positive.
They have energy. You want someone with energy.
Yeah, I told you didn't look like you had energy this morning.
You were being sarcastic, though.
No, I wasn't.
Really?
Yeah. You look like you were down this morning.
How?
You just had that look on your face.
And I slept really good.
I don't know. Maybe you slept too much. I don't know.
Maybe that's what it was.
Jet lag.
I know. This time zone's been getting me, man. So was I more energetic yesterday?
A lot more.
I was?
Yes.
Dang, I slept really good last night. I slept too good, huh?
Maybe.
Well, tell me about the when Ryan came in, and I mean, he stuck with you until you guys exited this company.
Correct.
So what did the evolution of Ryan and your relationship and just pretty much all the partners?
So Ryan built a team for himself.
Okay.
He built a team that built large departments. We did everything in-house except for we couldn't have a CPA, obviously. That had to be sent out, but we had full accounting team, full training team, full HR, full IT. We had everything, full legal in-house. We had lawyers in-house. We had everything in-house, and that was the team that we built, or that Ryan had built, the vision that he had. And it took a lot of years to get there. We were there ready for 2017, 2018. We continued to flourish right into COVID in 2020, 2021. We were open because we were essential business during COVID, so we never closed. And right after COVID, and I'm skipping ahead a little, we were looking to grow again, and we were looking to acquire more companies. That was when the company that I believe, were hoping to acquire asked us if we were willing to sell.
That was out of Texas, right?
Correct. We sold the company within 90 days.
Right after that? That was
Correct.
90 days?
90 days.
What did that conversation look like?
It was a really tough conversation I was not ready for it. Just to give you an example, I was 52 and not ready to really retire from owning a large company like that. But we made, my brother Ed and myself made a decision to sell the company. It was the hardest decision. I did not want to sell, just to let you know. My brother and Ed did.
Why didn't you want to sell it?
I was going through some personal stuff, and I felt we could still grow it. But the opportunity was too great, and we chose to sell.
How big was the company at this point? How many employees?
400 stores, almost 4,000 employees.
Good Lord. And it was right here in New Jersey.
Well, it was based out of New Jersey. It was a Florida-based company. We had an office in Boynton Beach, Florida, and in East Brunswick, New Jersey.
That's incredible. I mean, at that time, you had some personal stuff going on. You had this business thriving. I'm sure you had other businesses too that you were also building on the side?
Correct.
What other businesses did you have? Did you have Trek at that time?
Yes, I did. So we started Trek in, Trek's 18 years old now. So it's 18 years old. We started Trek 18 years ago. We started out with one store in Estero, Florida. Built it up to 17 stores. Right now we're operating out of 16 stores.
And just so everybody knows, Trek bicycles. The bicycle, like the high-end.
The pedal bike. We are Trek's largest dealer in the U.S.
And what year did you start this? I had no idea that you've been in the industry for that long.
Count backwards, 18 years. So
18 years.
24, 14, right around 2005,
Good
2004.
Lord. Okay.
So that's with my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. I love them a lot.
More family in the business.
Yes, they do a great job. Joe's got a great story. He was a $12 an hour bike mechanic, and now he's a extremely successful entrepreneur.
With 17 locations.
Yes.
That is incredible. I didn't know that. Again, we've talked about Trek before, and didn't know you had it for that long. So, going back to when you exited just 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
2 years ago, August 1st.
August 1st is 2 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. What was, you sold in 90 days. What was the conversation like going through that 90 days? Did you have a lot of back and forth with your business partners? Let's do it, let's not do it?
No, it was more with T-Mobile, making sure they were approved to buy the business. T-Mobile at that point was also wanting to start closing up stores from the 2017 expansion because they merged with Sprint. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of overlapping stores. That's where we really got hurt in the end. I always say that last hour negotiation, we got clipped $10 million for store closures. It was 34 stores that T-Mobile eventually wanted to close out of that portfolio.
Why did they decide to close it?
because there was overlapping stores with Sprint and T-Mobile.
Oh, so he was a Sprint guy.
No, with Sprint and T-Mobile merged.
Oh, I
so
see.
therefore,
Okay.
if there was a Sprint and T-Mobile store, they were letting for leases to run out, kind of like whoever's lease ran out first, whoever had the better location. They start to look at things like that. There's a lot of overlapping.
Who was the person that was buying you guys out of Texas?
It's called GP Mobile. Gentleman named, I can't remember his name, actually. Guillermo. I don't know his last name.
Guillermo something.
Yes.
And I remember, if I remember correctly, you told me that this guy came from nothing.
He came from Mexico. He started with nothing. He's actually a billionaire entrepreneur now out of Florida and Texas. He owns fast food chains.
Mm-hmm. So why would he want to get into wireless?
He had a couple hundred wireless stores, T-Mobile stores as well.
Wow.
Correct.
And he's seen you guys 400 plus at that time.
And that's how he knew he could grow quicker.
That's incredible. So what happened after the exit? Because now that's the dream. That's what everybody does this for, right? They want to exit. They want to build this big thing, exit, and then sip Mai Tais and mojitos on the beach all day.
Yeah, so my business partner, Ed, is content. We still own some businesses together, some smaller businesses together. He doesn't participate, but he travels the world with his wife. He has children. He has 3 children. He lives in Florida. He plays pickleball 2 hours a day. Goes to the gym for another hour a day.
Pickleball, yeah, I love that.
My brother races Porsche now. He has 8 Porsches. He's always at the track racing. My brother bought a detail supply company. He also owns a graphics company that he opened on his own. Just trying to keep busy. And I continue just to work with the businesses that I currently have, looking for other opportunities that I might enjoy.
Why? Where does that desire to keep growing come from? Why do you want to keep building? I mean, you don't have to.
I think it's something you either have or you don't have. Enjoying people, enjoying empowering people, enjoying doing nice things for people, being charitable, helping the world, being a great employer. To me, that's one of the things that I'm probably proudest of, that I know we've been a great employer to many. You've met some of the employees from other companies that actually work here, and they say they wouldn't want to work anywhere else because we've been very nice to them. We treat them like family.
And you've told me recently that you really like developing leaders. You like creating entrepreneurs and helping them become successful too.
Correct.
Why?
Because I was an underdog. And I look at the underdog and say, if I can do it, I should be helping other people do it. My family was all college educated. I did not go to college. My little brother is an ER doctor. He runs a hospital. My older brother was the CFO of our company. Before that, he was the CFO for me, and then we became partners. And I told you about being the one. It's an Ed Milet thing.
I love that.
I was the one in my family that made the biggest impact and the biggest changes, and I wasn't supposed to be that guy. I barely made it out of high school. Did not go to college. I know how disappointing it was for my parents that I did not go to college. It's not for everyone. So empowering people that are sort of like me, empowering people that I see the potential in, is the gift that, your greatest gift is giving back. And sometimes it's not just giving someone money or a thing, it's giving them your time or your knowledge.
I mean, that's what you've given me. I mean, every time I have a conversation with you, I was joking earlier about getting slapped around a little bit, but it's just a metaphor. You are really generous with your time. And I think I asked you recently, it was after the conversation with Ryan, I was like, why are you helping me? Because you're really generous. I mean, you invest in people. I've seen it firsthand. I mean, you've invested in me. You've invested in Aladdin, the Media Tune team, and the Automotive Mastery team, and I really thank you for that. I know I've told you, but that has been it's really, really been impactful for me, and I can't thank you enough for how generous you've been.
Thank you for that. And I want to let you know, for the industry and for Kyle, you guys have had a great impact. I know you're getting some copycats now, but you guys have had a great impact on something I really love. And I'm passionate about window film. I'm passionate about the PPF. I'm passionate about commercial window film, automobiles. And, you know, I really saw that in you guys. I've never really been part of an organization, you know, within my industry before, and you guys are certainly the closest that I've ever been to somebody in that industry. I'm very close with EPD, the distributor, but besides that, I'm not that close with, you know, anyone else in the industry.
I love that. I know you've been to so many Autofil Master events. I mean, you just went to Mike Norton's shop recently. You were at all the conferences. You know, I'm excited that they're going to finally get to see who Marc Lubin is in this interview. I think this is going to be...
I appreciate that. I'm shy, but that's okay.
I don't think you're shy. I don't think you're shy. I think that, well, I guess it could be interpreted that way, but you're not shy with me. You're not shy with us. But, you know, you were talking about Kyle, and I actually want to bring Kyle in here. I want to see, because now, you know, you've taken the last 2 years off a little bit, like you've relaxed. I know you've been hanging out with the dogs, and you love going for the, you know, we were just at your house. You have a beautiful house, beautiful family, beautiful lifestyle.
Thank you.
And I want to get Kyle in here because that guy's working. Like, he's working, he's hustling, and you're not making it easy for him.
No, I don't.
So I want to get Kyle in here. I know Aladdin's going to get him right now. But what do you guys have coming up? Because when I came here, you told me something really cool. Is he here?
He's coming.
All right. Is he working with the customer right now?
He was on the phone.
Okay. He'll come in a second. But I want to know what you guys have planned, because are you coming out of retirement? Are you done with it? You're bored? Are you bored? Were you bored?
So our original move was my wife and I were going to move to Florida, and one of our daughters is in her senior year, and one of them would be starting high school next year. So we figured the change, it was the right time to make the change. I decided that I did not want to move. My parents are elderly. My other children are here.
Right.
So I decided to stay here. So we are going to continue to grow the Auto Image brand.
Yeah, you're a family man. Very close family.
So that is why we're going to stay here and start over, in the sense of we're looking for either a very large shop or multiple smaller shops to continue the growth. We are looking at other types of businesses for opportunities. You've met my wife. She's very into coffee, so that clues in what we might be looking for. But there's things,
you know, a lot of repeat business. There's a lot of repeat business. Kyle, hey, come here. You gotta take a seat.
I gotta take a seat. Okay.
So we were just talking about. I mean, we talked about everything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we covered, but I brought you in because, you know, I admire the family business, and I admire everything that you guys have done. And, you know, when I came here, we were just talking about how he's coming back. He's coming out of retirement, you know?
Yep.
But I was also pointing out how, like, you're working like a dog. He's not making it easy on you, man, by any means. And we were just talking about what's next, like what's going to happen. What's around the corner for Auto Image? Or
I mean, I don't know what you guys covered in the interview part that I missed. I wasn't here for it, but I mean, it's making sure it's a sustainable business, right? It's not running it like how it was ran. It's, you know, making sure it's ran efficiently, effectively. You know, we're well-oiled machine here to create a duplicatable model to then expand. I mean, the guy's had several different franchises. He's an expert at it. So it's, you know, how do we create one model? Because this is our brand. This is the family-owned, homegrown
where it all
brand.
started.
So it's how do you create, you know, what we have here and make it almost like our own franchise, with us being in charge of it and having, you know, the right people with us along for the journey.
I know there's a lot of it's still like up in the air right now, right? I know you guys you're still planning what you want, but the options. I mean,
I'm
excited
it's in
to see
the
what
air,
you
but
do.
we know what we want.
Right.
Kind of. Like obviously, it's more locations like this, right? Where we're going to be doing a big demo on this location. You know, making it into more of what we are passionate about here, and then going other places with it, right?
I know. So after this, we're going to talk with your designer.
Correct.
That's going to be fun. I got some good ideas. Now that we're here, you know, that's going to be pretty cool. More space. I mean, this thing is a lean, mean machine, but and you guys are limited on space. The city's not making it easy for you guys here. So you're going to start with this place, got the showroom, got a couple other things, and kind of a little bit of a rebrand. Are we saying it's a rebrand?
Possibly.
We like to call it a facelift.
That's a good way to...
Because,
that's better.
Because the roots are never going to change. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Right? We still, hey, we want to get your car in today for window tint. That is never going to stop.
Let's talk about that. We didn't really talk about
But
that.
hey, look, we also want to, you know, this is who we are, right? We like to have fun while we work, but also let's work really freaking hard and let's make some good money at the same time.
Did we bring up the questions they asked us yesterday? Because that's a great example of the fun.
That part.
I mean, we walked in, just for everybody to get a good idea of what we got ourselves into here. We walked in yesterday, and you had this ongoing question, and I think we need to put it on camera because you asked everybody, and you caught me off
Well, we
guard.
asked customers as well.
You asked the customers too?
Absolutely, we asked the
What's the
customers.
question? You got to bring the question
I
up.
have to be there.
You gotta-
I need to, because Mark had me in that circle. All right, go ahead.
So what the question about the grocery store? What's
So my question to Ray was, if you walked into the grocery store and you were shopping for fruit, and you got to the grape section, would you taste the grape
before you buy it?
before you buy it?
Put your comment down there before you see the answer or hear the answer. Put your comment down there and let's see.
I'm going to tell you my answer.
So I find that Ray is extremely wrong.
6 other people were on my side. It's not my side.
There's 3 here that are not on your side.
There was 2.
No, in this room right now.
Who's the third person?
He tastes the grape.
You taste the grapes before you buy it in the store.
It's a judgment of character, right? Unfortunately, people are very germaphobe, or you're just a rugged person.
The risk taker.
Yeah.
You're risking a bad grape.
You're
Come on.
risking a bad grape. God, all right. So
Is this kind of like a...
there's people who eat the grape in the store to make sure it's good, and there's people who don't. And they just buy the I look at it. I look at the bag. So we'll see where this
You
goes.
can't judge a grape like that.
You can't
just
judge a
can't.
grape.
No,
So
you need
again,
to taste the grape.
I'm going to say the same thing. Do you eat a blueberry before you buy it? No, you don't buy You don't eat the blueberry, so why eat the grape?
I do.
But
Okay, you gotta go. You gotta get. So, auto image. We're talking about the facelift. I think that's a much more accurate terminology. But we didn't. I just realized we didn't really talk about like what do you do now in 2024. Like window tint's still number 1 for you guys. Why is window tint so? You guys have a lot of services. This brand's been around for over 20 years. How long? How long has it
We're
been
close
here?
to 40.
38.
38, almost
87.
40 years. So what does it look like now? Because we talked about how the goal is to open up more locations, and you guys talk about flat glass, you guys talk about a couple other things too, which I'm super excited to even, I want to see what we do. I'm excited for this, but auto image is going to continue to evolve. Window tint, I know, is going to be the number 1 focus. What else is, I want to pick your brain a little bit.
I think that we've really, over the last year, with your help, have been very focused on PPF. We have 3 very capable people, at this location that can do PPF now, and that was almost going from 0 a year ago. We are going to start doing a lot more vinyl wrap color change. We still do an incredible amount of car stereo. We're backed up for almost 2 weeks all the time, if not 4 to 6 weeks on car stereo, only because room and the installer gets backed up.
Yeah. And 40 years of customers coming here for car audio.
Yes. Well, 40 years of customers coming here for window tint. I think you were here yesterday when you saw a gentleman here that, he brought his kids here. He came here as a kid.
Really?
Yes.
What? Which one?
I witnessed that yesterday.
No
he walked
kidding.
in and he
Remember the guy wearing the hat, and then his son was a bigger gentleman.
Yeah.
I
So
wasn't.
his kid's just got his license. His kid is probably I believe is 20 years old.
Oh, that's cool. You got generations coming
Yes.
here. That is cool. Are you ever gonna sell this location?
No.
Are you ever gonna sell?
I'm inheriting this location in a very long time from now.
That's cool. That's gonna be great.
So, I think what we didn't talk about, which people might be interested in, is, as soon as you tell people no, there's a good chance they're not going to come back. That's something that I try to help the sales team with. If we can at all accommodate that customer when the customer wants to come in, if they have to wait, we're in the waiting room now. But if they have to wait, we want to get them done today. When you schedule out, there's that chance you're going to lose that customer. You could take a deposit, you could do whatever you want, but that customer's so excited right now. We're letting them down when we say we can't do it right now. We have 5, 6 tinters here every day that we're pretty capable of tinting their car today. There's not very many cars that are that hard that we would say no to. And that goes right back to, business, our Google reviews. We have absolutely incredible reviews where they're naming Kyle, Marc, the other manager here, Dominique, Romero in the reviews. That says something.
It's amazing.
I mean, you talked about this when you had the rug pulled underneath your feet. You said the number one thing is we're going to build a great team, great customer service. World-class customer service, and that's carried over to everything you do now. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, yes, it is.
You got to get that?
No, it's Mike.
He needs to come eat breakfast.
It does. It's without the customers, we don't have anything. And when I'm talking to my employees, and it doesn't matter at which company I'm at, whether it's a bicycle company, whether it's an auto company, whether it's a cellular company, whatever it might be, ultimately, we're salespeople. We're a sales organization. I know I've talked to you about that before.
Yes.
The sales organization. Without those sales, you have nothing behind it.
So have more clarity on that, this is not an auto shop.
This is a sales organization.
This is a sales organization.
Correct.
So what would you say to someone who is just struggling right now?
You have to look at their sales.
You gotta look at their sales.
Correct.
What would they look for?
How are they treating the customer? What kind of time are they giving the customer? How are they answering their phone?
A big pet peeve of mine.
Yeah. So, Vinny, come on in and say hi.
Hey, come here, Vinny. Who's Vinny for the audience? Come over here.
Vinny is a long-term employee. He's family.
I am. I've been here a long time, dude.
And he's big window tinter, big installer, big PPFer, big sales
dude.
guy.
Big dude.
Love him.
We do a lot here. We do a lot of creative projects. It's a fun environment. We don't, you remember, we didn't get to work on cars like these, this caliber all the time. You know what I mean? We used to get the old, and we still get them, right? We do everything. So we get 98 Camrys to that want ceramic for some. I don't know how they get ceramic. You get a guy with a brand new 7 Series. Just give me regular 3M. But I get ceramic on an 88 Camry. I get it. But it works, right? I mean, everything, all this, right?
You want to know something?
What's that?
We talked about the grape question.
And who was wrong?
Hey, only Ray.
See?
We're gonna find
How do you not want to taste it?
It's not only
Some
me.
people smell it first, though, right?
Oh God.
You can smell a grape, though. I'm gonna start just cutting that stuff out, all right?
Yeah, but I can't get caught PPFing, all right? So this is between you and I.
Listen.
No more soap and water.
I've tried, right?
Kick 'em out. No more soap and waters.
Warn him.
You're a sales organization. That's what he's saying.
Relates to where we were.
This week we have a new guy starting, right? It's starting to
blossom.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? He knows.
That's it.
We've been so long together. I can just
We can read each other's minds. Yeah. Finish our sentences.
Mine. You know, I just realized we can't pick up his audio all the way over there.
Oh.
no.
We can't.
No one can hear you.
We'll
Bah, bah, bah.
You were next to me. We'll get you later. We'll get you. We'll dub it or something. I don't know. We'll put someone else's voice over it. Well, I mean, going back to that question, like, what would you say to someone who is struggling right now? You said, look at the sales metrics. Like, what metrics are you paying attention to the most, or what areas?
I think it really is how you talk and how you treat that customer on the phone, how you answer your phone. If they walk in, how do you present yourself? Do you care?
Yeah.
We shop other stores. It's amazing how poor a job they do.
Give the price in less than 60 seconds on the phone.
That's half the time they don't even know they don't even know the price. You're a hassle to them.
Yeah.
I can't believe you called me.
And
I can't believe you rushed. Yes.
They just want you off the phone. They got to get back to the install. They got to get back to
whatever they're
It's not
doing.
even
Whatever
that.
they're
They
doing.
just don't care about you. You can tell they have a frown on their face. You can tell that they hate their job.
Big time.
At least pretend like you like your job.
I know. You know, I deal with that, and I think one of my pet peeves is when because I have a big sales background, and that's something that we've seen eye to eye on a lot, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone they feel like it feels like you're rushing the customer off the phone, or they make them feel stupid because they genuinely ask a question out of curiosity, and then guess what happens? You shut the customer down. They don't want to open up to you anymore. Then what?
You don't have that customer. There's plenty of places to go.
Yep. They'll go to someone else, especially now. There's a lot more competition.
It's not even that. I think we can actually turn customers off from ever doing that to their car, whether it's window tinting or car stereo, when they're so like, these people don't care. They don't, they never had it before. You didn't make that a great situation for them, or a pleasant environment, or a pleasant experience. They're never going to do it again. And that's one of the things that we tell customers, and you don't see it as often, but bad window tint going bad. When people put an inferior film on, film goes bad. They're never tinting their car again. Especially if it goes bad after 2, 3, 5 years, right? So, we try to explain that to customers. Our film is not going to do that. If it does do that, we've been here for 30 plus years. We will warranty it. We have jobs that come back after 10 or 15 years that did bubble up. We had a bad run of, it was a Solar Guard product, Ultra Performance, that bubbled up at other shops, meaning other shops of ours. We warranty it here. We take it off and retint that car because we warranty the Auto Image name and the film.
What do you think is around the corner for the industry? It's different. It's a very different industry in 2024 just to compare to 2-3 years ago.
Can I do this one?
Sure.
I think there's going to be a huge gap between people that can run a business and people that can't. And it's going to be very hard. A shop like, for example, us, we know that it's crunch time for us. We either have to grow or we're not going anywhere, right? So it's making sure we got to either run it like a business or we can continue what we're doing and it's not going to be here much longer.
You can't run it like a hobbyist anymore.
No.
You can't run it like an artist anymore.
No.
The passionate artist that loves.
And that's the unfortunate part about it, because, he can't see what he's tinting anymore, but, I shouldn't be tinting either. I need to make sure that my guys have jobs, right? So I'm passionate about what they do, but I cannot actually partake in it during operating hours.
Yeah, I've said this a lot. You have to have, not a perfect package, but you have to have the full package now. This industry was ran a lot. Again, just 3-4 years ago, you can say, look, that guy, he just has amazing installations. He's doing great because of it. Or that guy, he just has amazing reviews and amazing website. That's why he's getting a lot of business coming in. But now you have to have the great website, the great social media, the great content, the great customer service, the great sales, the great marketing, or at least really good. You can't just be subpar or not pay attention to it anymore.
I think there's a few guys that can operate like that, but not many. I know some guys that are so good at window tinting. They tint 2 cars a day. They're backed up for 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. And that's the way they want to run their business. But they're when they go on vacation, they don't make any money. When if they get sick, they're not going to make any money. When they leave that business, it's not really sellable. One of the things that I look at in business, this business as well, even though my kids are here, is that exit strategy. What's your exit strategy? And that's what I think other people don't look at.
I don't think they love the business. They never want to sell it. That's always the first thing that comes up. But that's not the point. That's not the point, right? The point is even if you plan on keeping it, like you've kept Auto Image East Brunswick forever, you got to make sure that you have time to be able to step away so it can run on its own if, God forbid anything unfortunate happens, right?
Correct.
So no matter what, whether you keep it or sell it, you got to have that exit strategy. How do you go about creating an exit strategy?
I think, the exit strategy is making sure there's not too much debt. I think that's the number one thing that people take on, that they don't know exactly how they're going to pay. So it's, not having the debt. The second thing is making sure you have that structure in the organization so you know who's running it when you're not here.
Okay.
When you are here, everyone's doing their proper job and partaking their proper way. And I think that naturally leads up to that. It makes it something sellable. It makes it a brand.
Mm-hmm. What about, we're talking about exit strategy. We're talking about building a real business here. How do you start to delegate? Because there's people that get stuck in the trap of leaving their 9-to-5 job for that 24/7. You've heard these analogies, and they get trapped and they can't step away. They can't build up a team. Why do you feel most entrepreneurs get stuck in that trap and they can't delegate? They don't know how to build a team.
I think that most people feel they can do it better than that person that they hired. And when you come to the conclusion that I'm really good at this and you're really good at that and that's your job, do your job and I'm going to do my job, that's when you're going to have that kind of success.
How do you get out of that? How do you get out of that mindset? Or I think most people aren't self-aware enough. They don't understand that that's them.
I don't know that those people ever get out of their way. I've seen that myself. I think it takes a lot of mentoring, a lot of coaching. There are a lot of people, business coaches and books and things that you can read to get out of that mindset. I was fortunate enough to believe that I was not the best at anything, but I'm good at a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I think I like myself that way.
How do you know when to step back? Because you were talking about stepping back as a CEO. That just blew my mind the first time I heard that. And it really opened up my mind.
Just to let you know, I do it every day. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is Marc here was buying computers. We have a new program going in, and I delegated it to Marc. Window film purchasing, Kyle handles it. We're opening up with another audio manufacturer. Kyle's doing it. A lot of times an owner or an entrepreneur, the head leader feels like it feels good to buy stuff, right? I think a lot of people like to do that. That's something that I'm really good at not doing. I like to give that to other people, research it, do what you want to do, make a great decision. Come to me if you have any questions, but it empowers them. And that goes right back to the servant leadership. Let people feel good about it. If you don't let people do things that they feel good every day, then they're not going to enjoy working with you or being at your company.
Delegation happens daily.
Every day.
Every day. It never stops.
Never stops.
Okay. You were talking about coaching and mentorship. I mean, how important is it to have a mentor or to have a coach?
I've always had somebody that I've spoke to on the daily. Whether it's a business partner or Walter, who I bought this building from.
Right.
I do believe in professional coaching. I have not used one, but my business partner in the bike stores continually uses them, sits on a lot of different boards with a lot of different businesses to see how they can all improve each other's businesses. So talking to him a lot, I'm able to gain a lot of knowledge that way. Being at the top and being an entrepreneur and being successful can sometimes be lonely at the top, and it's really true because you don't feel like you have anyone to talk to. But I have my children and my wife. that, you know, I'm able to talk to, and, you know, maybe they're not mentors, but I'm able to bounce great ideas off of them and say, what do you think of this, or what do you think of that? And that's kind of how I live.
Yeah, when we were talking yesterday, you know, you brought me back to our conversation just yesterday in your kitchen. I was sitting there, I'm like, man, this guy gets a lot of feedback. And I think I love that, because I try and practice that as well. Whenever I have this idea, even if it's just something simple, I'm calling Aladdin. I talk to, I mean, that's my brother. You know, I call him every day. I'm calling Mike Norn. I'm calling Alex, my manager. I'm calling somebody, you know. And I mean, you got a lot going on. You got a lot of ideas. And we were talking about, I mean, you got feedback on everything from everybody. I mean, you called everybody. Like, it was like a rotation. We were sitting here in the office. Different people were coming in, and, you know, your flat glass division was there, the automotive division, and so I think that is definitely a vital habit, vital skill to have.
And as a leader, you gain a lot more from listening than you do by talking. And I listen a lot.
How do you become a good listener?
Just shut up.
Just shut up. Just shut up.
Just shut up.
Well, so Kyle, what do you think is one of the things that has really helped the culture, build auto image, build the companies, and just make sure all this is cohesive?
I don't think you're gonna like this answer, but it's lead by example.
Lead by example. I think that's a great answer.
So no, a lot of times, like, for example, bringing in PPF here was very challenging.
Yeah.
Because my guys didn't want to do it. It was uncomfortable. So I had to get uncomfortable with them. Mm-hmm. So it did take away from the sales, and it was a rough couple of months to, you know, learn a skill. And I do genuinely enjoy doing now. But when you learn something new and you're saying, F this, F that, I don't want to do this, is annoying. And figuring out solutions and things like that. And again, I didn't learn that until recently when we saw Mike in Texas.
Right.
It once that, it totally changed the game for me. But it's, you know, leading by example. You know, like, I still do mostly sales, but when I do sales and I delegate some of those tasks too, my guys, you know, we work really well together. But again, this was not the same 18 months ago. It was, like we were talking yesterday at dinner, brutal. It was brutal. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to come here. Straight up. He did not want to come here. He'd come here, do payroll, and leave. Mm. So building a team where everyone's happy most of the time, and, you know, we're busy and we're selling, and it's a much better atmosphere. And it took a lot of work.
Yeah.
It took a lot of work. Like, a lot of work. And I wish it was easier. I wish it was easier.
It's never easy. I mean, does it ever get easier?
No. Very hard. A lot of issues, a lot of problems. As a leader, unfortunately, you're dealing with more problems than you're dealing with successes. And what I mean by that is, you know, we had a gentleman that we were removing stickers from yesterday that we scratched the bed of his truck, removing them for free.
Oh, the extra favor.
Yes, the extra favor. $1,500.
Oh, shoot.
We did a wonderful customers, what do you call those, cyber trucks? Mm-hmm. And we put a sticker on his, so we wouldn't roll down his windows, on his window switch. It peeled the paint off the switch.
That happened in my Tesla once.
I'm like, I felt the guy loves us, and he wrote a review that was incredible. And I said, we'll pay for a new. I can't believe a sticker would take the glue. Like, so just dealing with those is heartbreaking, because we didn't mean to take his paint off with a sticker. And it's just, that's what we deal with at the top, sort of, because we're going to come right out, and we're not going to let our, you know, lines of defense stop us from helping that type of stuff.
Don't do things for free.
I think the take home is, don't do things for free.
Well, you can be as generous as you want. We're generous people, and we've had times where, like, we just do things for free, and we obviously that doesn't benefit us. We're a business. We need to make money to be able to pay salaries and keep the lights on.
Yeah.
But don't do things for free. Just don't do things for free.
And when things go wrong, make it up to the customer. Put the customer first.
We always do.
Well, I know we're running short on time here, man, and I really appreciate you guys. This has been, I've wanted to come out to Automotive for a really, really long time. We've talked about it for a couple of years now, and I think I got to come back here pretty soon.
That would be wonderful. We'd love to have you.
I want to bring the wife and the baby. I was telling him I gotta. It'd be great for her to see the backyard and those dogs. I know she was. But anyways, is there anything that you wanted to share with the Automaster community before we end it?
Yeah, I would. I will tell you that Ray, Aladdin, Alex, the whole team, I want to thank you. They're best analytics that we've had in many, many years. The lead generation is terrific. Ray and his team helped us with our CRM, which was absolutely wonderful. We're using Tint Wiz.
Yep.
And I will tell you, besides helping them and mentoring them, both Aladdin, Ray, and Alex have become great friends of mine, and I greatly appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Let's go eat.